Do you know 55 years ago, a quiet handshake happened in Islamabad that changed the map of Middle Eastern power forever? The world looks at Dubai's skyline and sees oil money. The full story is more interesting and more relevant today than most analysts are willing to admit. Before we move forward, let me tell you an interesting debate. Some viewers pushed back on my last video. See its thumbnail on screen. Their argument was Pakistan has lost its relevance. Too weak, too broken. That criticism is fair. Yes, elite capture has made Pakistan fragile, but a low patch doesn't erase history, legacy, or geography. Consider 2022. Despite the pandemic, Pakistan was growing at 6% GDP. The capacity, the potential is still there, dear friends. Now, go back further. Pakistan built the UAE, Emirates, Pakistani workers, engineers, manpower. But living in history is not enough, I agree. So here is the real question. Can Pakistan be relevant today? This video presents a roadmap. If adopted by the authorities, it could change regional dynamics and make Pakistan indispensable again. And to Pakistanis living in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, please pay attention. Watch until the end. If the analysis resonates, share the video. Let the voice reach the authorities. Now let's move forward. Pakistan didn't just witness the UAE's rise in critical ways, it engineered it. But here is the uncomfortable question for today. Does that history still matter? Or has it become a comfortable story that prevents Pakistan from seeing the cold reality of what the relationship has become? Today, the analysis goes somewhere most commentators avoid. And let's see the 1971 foundation. Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan bypassed every diplomatic convention to make Pakistan the UAE's primary strategic pillar. This was not aid, it was institutionalized survival. The newly formed UAE lacked a defense architecture. Pakistan supplied it. The first 5 chiefs of the Emirates Air Force were Pakistani officers. When the Federation needed commercial aviation, Pakistan International Airlines provided the aircraft, the expertise, and the operational framework that eventually became Emirates Airline, one of the biggest in the world. Pakistani teachers, judges, and engineers were embedded across the UAE's civil institutions at the foundational moment before the oil revenues arrived, before the skyline existed, before the world was paying attention. That legacy is physically inscribed across Pakistan today. The Sheikh Zayed Postgraduate Medical Institute in Lahore, Sheikh Zayed Hospital in Rahim Yar Khan, Sheikh Zayed Islamic Centers at University of Karachi, Peshawar and Punjab, University of Punjab. I have been student of University of Punjab, Lahore. The Sheikh Zayed International Airport in Rahim Yar Khan, built with the UAE funding, complete with a royal lounge, airfields in Dalbadin and historically in Shamsi, Balochistan, constructed to facilitate the annual winter hunting expeditions of UAE royalty across Cholistan and Sindh. Month-long high security affairs conducted from private desert encampments that operated under a distinct layer of diplomatic protection. This was not a transactional relationship, it was civilized interweaving. But here's the question that history cannot answer. And what's that? When the partner who needed you no longer need you in the same way, what exactly is the relationship worth? Let's see, is it end of bailout era? The honest answer today is that relationship is under serious structural strain. The traditional pattern. Islamabad faces the balance of payments crisis, calls Abu Dhabi, receives an emergency deposit, is not simply becoming less reliable. According to informed regional assessments, it is increasingly being viewed with impatience in the UAE because the UAE has pivoted. The strategic priority is no longer regional solidarity. It is high yield post oil investment in AI infrastructure, semiconductor manufacturing, and digital logistics. Pakistan, meanwhile, remains positioned as a client state, arriving with requests rather than propositions, offering historical sentiment rather than contemporary compatibility. While Pakistan asks for debt rollovers, India is offering technology corridors. While Pakistan provides security personnel, other partners are providing AI architects. The psychological shift required is fundamental from debtor to node, from supplicant to infrastructure partner, from a country asking what the UAE can provide to a country articulating what only Pakistan's geography and scale can deliver. But a state that has spent 5 decades in a client mindset make that shift credibly and quickly enough to that matter. Let me put a concrete proposal on the table, addressed directly to Islamabad, if anyone there is paying attention. The answer is not diplomacy alone, it's geography. The UAE's AD Ports Group is one of the most aggressively expanding logistics network in the Indian Ocean, competing with terminal positions from East Africa to South Asia. Karachi sits at Karachi, the biggest city in Pakistan, the coastal city, sits at the precise intersection of Gulf capital and Central Asian trade that AD Ports needs. The Karachi Gateway Terminal, properly integrated into the UAE's digital supply chain, becomes the critical link connecting Emirati commercial infrastructure to Afghanistan, Central Asia, and beyond. Extend that along the Makran coast, and the proposition becomes structurally irreplaceable. The logic is simple. When the UAE owns and operates terminals on Pakistani soil, Pakistan's stability stops being charitable preference. It becomes commercial requirement. Pakistan's security is no longer a favor being requested. It's a prerequisite for Emirati return on investment. That's the new security guarantee, not military labor, not historical sentiment, geoeconomic infrastructure. But this raises a question that history cannot answer. Is Pakistan's current political economy capable of making that kind of long-term binding commitment, or will short-term domestic instability make reliable partnerships impossible? Now let's see the chessboard. The Maritime argument simultaneously resolves Pakistan's most difficult regional navigation problem. Two competing infrastructure architectures currently cross Pakistan geography. China's Belt and Road Initiative, CPEC, and the India-Middle East-Europe corridor positioning as the Western alternative. Pakistan sits adjacent to both without being fully committed to either. By anchoring UAE integration through port concessions, Pakistan gains something no nuclear capability provides: soft power derived from commercial indispensability. A state that global supply chains depend on is considerably harder to isolate than state that merely possesses deterrence, this nuclear deterrence. The trilateral architecture then becomes possible. How Saudi energy exports, Emirati logistical networks, and Pakistan coastal infrastructure meeting in a shared commercial framework that bypasses Red Sea bottlenecks. Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, and Islamabad are unified economic corridor rather than a fractured chain of bilateral dependencies. Whether that vision is achievable depends entirely on a question Pakistani policymakers keep deferring. Who in Islamabad is capable of designing a multi-decade strategic framework? And do they have the political protection to execute it? Now, the honest verdict, a confusing current weakness with permanent irrelevance is an analytical error. Pakistan's back channel credibility is documented, not just theoretical. When the US-Iran de-escalation required a communications architecture outside Western structures, Islamabad was the address. In 1971, foundation was built on what Pakistan could provide when the UAE had nothing. The 2026 relationship must be rebuilt on what Pakistan can provide now that the UAE has everything except the one thing, geography never changes. Pakistan built the UAE once. The question is whether it has the strategic clarity to make itself indispensable a second time before the window closes entirely. I'm Naeem Sidhu. This was Mediator. As I requested earlier, Pakistan is in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. If you agree with my submissions, remember to share the video so that our voice reaches the authorities. Leave the assessment in the comments and hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your time.